how do you support your fostering process, and including recruitment, tracking, and how do you document what's going on? So, Sheila, you want to talk a little about that?
Thank you, Lars. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
I just want to start by saying that I am a veterinary behaviorist and a person who has worked in shelters first and a technology person second. I consider myself a great appreciator of technology, and I've been fortunate enough to use technology in many different aspects of my career, both as being as a veterinarian, being as someone who is working in shelters, being someone who is developing programs for shelters. So I have experience with technology in many different areas. And as I said, a great appreciator. Foster care has been a great interest of mine and of Maddie's Fund for the past couple of years, if not longer. And with regard to foster care, lots of different areas with technology where we have challenges. And one of the biggest challenges that got reported to us in the survey that we sent out and has been reported to us via other surveys and information we've gained from you all is foster care recruitment. How many of you have challenges recruiting foster caregivers? Some of you, great. How many of you think it's easy to recruit foster caregivers? A couple of you, great. We probably want to hear from you later.
Yeah.
And so we're going to start by talking about things as Lars said. I'm going to be talking about things in kind of an overview in the hope that that's going to spur questions for later on in the conversation. But, and I forgot to mention that at Maddie's Fund, we had our own foster-based adoption program for a year or two, so I have experience in that area as well. And in terms of recruiting foster caregivers, all I can say is social media is your friend. For those of you who say recruiting foster caregivers is easy, are you social media recruiters or not necessarily? Yeah, great. But Facebook posting stories about pets that need to go into foster care are really, really successful. We found that posting stories about individual pets were much more successful than just saying, we need foster caregivers, come foster for us. You post that picture, people have an attraction to that individual pet, and they come. And one of my colleagues, Kelly Dewar, out in the audience, looked at social media of successful foster programs versus less successful foster programs. And she found that, and this isn't scientific data, it's her evaluating people's Facebook pages, but successful foster programs, over 30% of their social media posts are about foster care. So you need to be talking about foster care all the time on social media, not just here and there. Instagram and Twitter, obviously those are things that can be helpful as well, but I have found that Facebook for us has been number one. Anybody use Craigslist for recruiting foster caregivers? One person in the audience. I know there's a lot of controversy about Craigslist, but one organization that Cattaun in California started using Craigslist, and we started using it as well. And Cattaun finds that it's a great way to recruit cat foster caregivers, and we had some success with it as well. The other thing, so posting individual pets on your public social media page, but many shelters nowadays, and I encourage you to develop a Facebook page for your volunteers, or Maddie's Pet Forum page for your volunteers, and you can have a specific area that when you have foster pets available, you post them directly to your fosters that are out there, so that people who might not have a pet in the system can use that. Another concern, so that's foster care recruiting. Another concern is just tracking foster caregivers, and how do we keep track of them? How do we know where they are in the process? When we had our foster-based adoption program, we used ShelterLuv, and I loved ShelterLuv for being able to track foster caregivers. Greg, any chance you want to talk a little bit about ShelterLuv capabilities?
I think one of the challenges that is presented by a foster-based program or a shelter program that has a foster at scale is just an orientation around the people that are housing your animals. So approaching it the same way you would a sort of a shelter environment where you have a single physical location tends to fall apart when you end up in a foster situation. You really need to be able to track an animal down to the person level to be able to contact them to see, are they running at capacity? Am I overtaxing the same few foster parents, and am I going to burn them out? Or am I sort of doing a better job spreading them around my general willing to be foster parent population?
Any other?
Just taking a step back, just out of curiosity, how many people here would rate yourself as very technologically savvy?
Ooh.
Okay, I just want to know who we're talking to here. And how many as very untechnologically savvy? Okay, so we've got, just want to know the audience. Okay. Well, so what I can talk a little bit about is recruitment and the project that we're doing with Maddie's. So one thing that adoptapet.com is experimenting with, and it looks like it's going to be successful, is we have these 4.5 million unique visitors coming to our site every month. That's a lot of people, and they're not all instantly adopting. And the question that we had with Maddie's fund was, are some of these people potential fosters? Are they maybe not ready to adopt? Are they just sort of looky-loos? Like, who are these people, and can we turn them into fosters? So we've been running an experiment where we've allowed shelters and rescues to post their adoptable pets on our site and also mark them as fosterable. And we wanted to see, if we added a button, would people say, hey, I'm interested in fostering that pet? And it turns out the answer is a gigantic yes. We're seeing a lot of people clicking that, I'm interested in fostering that pet. And the question then becomes, which we're working on now, is, are they just interested in fostering that pet as a possible adopting that pet, or are they actually a person who is interested in fostering animals in general and who might, at least for some period of time, be able to foster pets? So we're experimenting with that, but if this pans out, the next step for us would be to allow shelters to post not yet adoptable but fosterable pets to that audience database. And it might be a big database of people that we can start to build for you and then give you a way to present to meet those people. So that's coming soon, but hopefully that'll become a big new input for people interested in fostering.
So one of the things that we wanted to mention is that we, at Maddie's Fund, we developed this tool called Maddie's Pet Assistant, and part of the reason for doing that was also to help people bring in an animal into their household with the process of adjusting that. So Sheila, want to say a little about it?
Yeah, so Maddie's Pet Assistant is a tool for support of both adopters and foster caregivers. Is there anyone out in the audience who uses Maddie's Pet Assistant?
Oh, good.
A couple of you, great.
Ooh, look at that.
Talking about it related to foster care today. So it's a tool that when the foster caregiver goes home, if you use PetPoint, ShelterLuv, Animal Shelter Manager, that's all we have for right now, there's an automatic upload of your data into the Maddie's Pet Assistant system. Otherwise, you can manually manually enter it into the system. And the foster pet and foster caregiver are connected. They download an app, and they're provided with support. So there are surveys that are sent out on a regular basis, day 1, 3, and up to a month after they go into foster care, if they're in foster care that long. And they ask them about most common problems that foster pets face when they go in the home. And then they complete the survey, they're sent an automated response based on their answer. So if the kitten's having problems with diarrhea, there's a follow-up question about the severity of that diarrhea, and then they're sent an automated response saying you should call your foster coordinator, or it sounds pretty mild, just keep observing and check in. So it provides a low level of support so that you all can focus on the more challenging problems. And we've had a lot of great feedback on the foster caregiver and the adopter portion of Maddie's Pet Assistant.
So if you want to learn more about it, come up to the booth upstairs in Maddie's area, and we can give you a demo of it.